Hello again, Kevin Culp from Supermicro, continuing our podcast on deploying SuperCloud Developer Console. In the previous video, we did some pre-flight work of preparing the host by upgrading the kernel and also making sure all the software dependencies were intact for that VM we instantiated and provided an IP address and so on and so forth. So we're moving into the next phase of really deploying Kubernetes, which is the secret sauce that really drives essentially the control plane of SuperCloud Developer Console. And so in order to do that, we're using this utility or playbook called Kubespray, which is an industry utility that's used by many people. And we're going to take most of this scripting and put it into an orchestrated product so that you don't have to follow these steps. So the steps that I'm providing you are steps to successfully deploy under Kubespray. So there will be an orchestrator one-click operation to take care of all of this so that you are able to not make any mistakes on your deployment. So I've went off to the GitHub Kubespray location or repository, and a couple of things I want to point out before we start here is the code. So the code is going to be we'll copy to our URL clipboard, provide that information to us or to the command line interface itself, and then we'll also go ahead and look at the master location of branches. And the one that is of interest to us from a tags perspective is the version 2.27.0. So we talked about the significance of that when we initially talked about the requirements early on in this podcast of requirements that you need or preparation you need to prepare for when you start deploying SuperCloud Developer Console. So this is where you get this. So this will be the branch that we're actually pulling down or the software dependency to bring that magical secret sauce into the control plane of our SuperCloud Developer Console. So the first thing we want to do here is let's log into the developer console itself. We'll clear the screen here. And we've logged in as root. So we made some changes into the SSHD config file to allow for permitting root access to come in through login. So we made those changes. We made some changes to the VM itself by adding additional CPUs and prepped this VM to be successfully able to deploy our software suite. So the first thing we want to do is essentially take that HTTPS file that we're talking about and take it from our clipboard and put it into the command line interface. And then we're going to preface or add to the beginning of that line a git clone of this location. And also, we want to put in the appropriate branch, right, which is the version 2.27.0. And so this is the command you issue. I'm sorry, we have to do a slash B there, not B. So B and V are close together, so be careful of that. So git clone HTTPS, that location, -B, and then that's the parameter and the v2.27.0, and we'll go ahead and let it go. And it does some pulling down of various objects and compresses things. So now it's onto this particular host for information. So that's step number one of successfully getting the software dependencies or bits necessary to deploy. So we're going to go into the Kubespray directory. And in the Kubespray directory, you're going to see some files. And the file specifically that's important is the requirements.txt file, which we will use a little bit later with Python. But in order to basically use the Python command, we have to install the Python software dependency there. So we're going to issue an apt install of Python 3-pip. And make sure you're pulling down version 3 of Python. There are other versions out there, version 1 and version 2, so you want to make sure you're loading or installing the correct Python version. And then the next thing it's going to do here is, if we scroll down here, let's see if I can make my screen, minimize it. And then we're going to say yes here, and then it's going to go out and pull down those software dependencies for Python 3. So this will take a couple of minutes to install. And after this command, we're going to then issue the command. So let's CLI the screen again, clear it. And the next thing we're going to do after this is issue the pip install command. And the pip install command is pip install -r requirements. So let's look at the requirements file again. We can cat it out. Okay, so there's information in that file. And so we're going to issue the pip command. So pip install the Python -r, and then we're going to just cut and paste the requirements as a parameter there. So it's pip space install -r requirements.txt. And then that's going to go out and pull down Ansible related stuff. So that will continue on here. And it should finish up here in about 30 plus seconds here. So wait till this completes here. And so that's the third step that we've completed. And the warning is you can ignore that. We would expect to see that when you issue the command. So third and fourth steps are completed. So this is going to create an inventory file out there. So CD inventory, and that's where it's going to be important to modify that inventory file. So if we do an ls-l, you'll see a local and a sample file there. And so what's important is making sure that you copy the sample file. And what we're going to do there is copy it to what we called North America as a folder. Now you can call it any particular name you want here, but because we called it Dev Console North America, I thought it would be fitting to give it the file or the directory name and recursively copy everything into that file. And then at that point, that file is been copied recursively, and so we're going to drill now down to the North America folder. And then we're going to do an ls-l again there. And then you're going to see two ones that are important, the group vars, which is a directory, and inventory.ini. And so we'll go ahead and alter this file, and then we will make the changes into this inventory file. And then the next video will execute the appropriate script to kick it off, right? So I'm trying to keep these videos kind of small so that I don't go on and on and on. So about 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes should be where I need to be in the sweet spot there, so that you can, easily, instead of listening to the whole podcast and me ramble on, you can go to bits and pieces to pull down what you need to be successful through these steps of the development process of instantiation or the deployment of Kubernetes. So let's look at this file. So we're going to go in and do a nano, and then we're going to, it's called inventory.ini. So let's just cut and paste it here. And that file comes up with just a sample file. So what we're going to do here is change the name, right? So what's important is that you set the developer, when you create the hostname control file, it needs to be the same because Ansible looks at that, right? So we're going to call it dev console. So make sure that you spell it right here, right? Because that will be very important because Kubernetes gets a little bit picky about that, right? So the hostname control or hostname is dev console-America. And then we're going to provide its IP address here. So this is the IP address of your host, which in this case is 172.24.199.146. And then we're also going to give it the IP address here again. So this is the kube control plane of 172.24.199.146. And then we're going to leave that like it is, but we're going to add a different parameter on the end of that. And that parameter is going to be let me just look this up here first. Make sure I get the right parameter in here. So give me 1 second here until I look this up. So this parameter is used for passing of keys, key pairs. And so it's important that you have that there. Otherwise, it's going to be resulting in an error for you. All right. Let me research this particular parameter at the end here. So I'm going to close out this particular video and get this uploaded onto YouTube, and then I'll come back with you in the next video of what that parameter is. I have to research it just to make sure it's correct. And then we'll go ahead in the next videos start launching the Ansible playbook. Thanks for joining today. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.